Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Two Peas in a Podcast, episode 17. And we are your glamorous, gorgeous hosts as ever. For those that don't know who we are or where have you been, my name is Katie. I'm here in the UK. And my glamorous, gorgeous co-host is...
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm here in the US of A, as usual. Hasn't changed yet.
No, I think one time we should swap places just confuse people.
As long as we don't swap accents, we're actually not allowed to do that. We've banned each other from doing each other's accents.
It's embarrassing, trust us. Again, maybe that's a treat when we get to a specific number of podcasts. Maybe that's a treat, and we can see how bad we are at each other's accents because it's not great. I sound like a Valley girl, and Jess sounds like she's Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. So between us,
I'm gonna pop on.
And that's not a compliment. So anyway.
Okay, we're done.
We're done. See you next episode, guys. Anyway, so I chose topic for today because, well, we'll get into why, but I just felt it's very relevant to talk about. And it's a bit of a change in pace from our usual kind of more spiritual, esoteric talk that we've been having over the last couple of weeks. We're going back to kind of more earthbound stuff, if you like, because today we're talking about imposter syndrome. Down, down, down.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
If you're watching this episode, I'm guessing you know this one very well. Or if you don't, if you're one of the few rare people that don't know it, you definitely know somebody close to you that does have it, right? It's very, very common. Apparently, it's like 70% of the global population suffer from it at some point.
Yeah, I think that it's actually extremely common.
Yeah.
I think that we are kind of ingrained and programmed to think less of ourselves, even though on the surface, our culture is all about empowerment and believing in yourself. I actually think that how we translate that is quite different.
Oh, 100%. And it's just like anything else. There are different ways it will show up for people, and they may not even realize they're kind of dealing with it. But it has common things, obviously, and all that good stuff. So we're going to get into it and talk about what it is, where it potentially comes from, and what you can do about it. And of course, Jess and I will be talking about our experiences with each bit, I'm sure. So yes, this is going to be fun. We're going to feel quite vulnerable today, but we know this is, part and parcel of why we're here. So we're going to do our best. Jess is already like, you can, Katie. I'm not.
Already exhausted, just because I know this is something that I deal with so much every day.
Mm-hmm,
Every day I deal with imposter syndrome. So it's just really like, oh, I know we're about to get in there. Katie has done her due diligence, y'all. I'm so proud of her. Look at that.
I have notes and everything.
And handwritten. She's put in the work, people. Okay, so
I'm committed to this podcast.
What I'm most interested is that she's actually compiled the different types of imposter syndrome. I didn't realize there were different types, so I'm really interested to hear about this.
Yeah, right. Because again, people don't realize. People go, "Oh, I don't have imposter syndrome," and I'm like, "Do you not though?" Because actually, what happens is there's the umbrella of imposter syndrome, and underneath the umbrella hang 5 different things, but they're all types of imposter syndrome. So if you don't think you're suffering from it, I might have about to burst your bubble, and I'm sorry. But we're going to talk about where it comes from, like I say, and what we can do about it. So brace yourselves, people. Strap in. Let's have a go, right? Okay. So number one, the one that most people perhaps know is perfectionism. Now, perfectionism, first of all, is a myth. Perfectionism does not exist. Being perfect does not exist. And I will keep telling people this until the day I die, because we hold ourselves up to such high standards that we cannot reach, right? And that's the thing with this one. Literally, you'll put on a standard that's like, forget here, you're like, your standard's on the moon for yourself. Like, it's unreachably high, right? Mm-hmm. Deliberately. Even if it's subconsciously, it's deliberate. So that you can't reach it. Nobody can. It's unreachable. It's unreachable. And so then you'll feel like a failure for your mistakes, right? You'll struggle with delegating it out, and any imperfection equals personal failure.
Yeah. Yes. And that's a big one for me with perfectionism because it is an illusion, like you said. Nobody is perfect. I think it's tied hand in hand with that expectation of being vulnerable if you're not perceived as perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are naturally judgmental. And I think that sometimes we look at judgmentalness as sometimes like very black and white, but it has a whole spectrum of colors. You cannot be judging the person, but you could be judging the performance. You could be judging how they say things, how you wouldn't do it that way, but this is how they're doing it. And I think that as humans, especially when we're being vulnerable with something that we're putting out there, whether it's a creation, we're writing something, we're speaking something, we're creating something, it's so personal to us that it's so easy to feel like those judgments that we're almost projecting or internalizing off of other people.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I feel like you don't actually put the same high standards on other people that you put on yourself, right?
Indeed.
We have more compassion and more grace for other people than we have for ourselves, right? And so it's really unfair. And as somebody who, of course, I help people write books, obviously, and you'd be surprised, or maybe not, how much it comes up. People will literally like, I have to tell them, I always liken it to, like when you see as an adult, you see like a young child, like 2, 3, coloring in. And as an adult, you can go, that looks great, stop. Right. But as a child, the child has no concept of that looks good, stop. They keep going. And then you look down and it's ruined. Right. And as people who have perfectionism, they can't stop tweaking it. It's never good enough. And I'm like, but no book is 100% perfect. You have to be happy with it's good enough.
Yeah. And I do think that comes from, no, I think that's really honest. And I think that that does come from that internalized, if this isn't perfect, this speaks volumes about me as a person. It's like not even really as much about the thing that they're putting out, especially like with things that we've talked about with some of, because you work on with books and people, and there's been people that have been uber into perfectionism. And it's like, the book's great. It's amazing. What they've written is just phenomenal, right? Yeah. But it's not about what they've written. It's about how they are perceiving themselves.
Absolutely. And, without calling you out, okay, maybe a little bit, I've seen you embody that from time to time with the work that you do. How many times have you spoken to me going, I've recorded a video for my YouTube channel and I've watched it back and I don't know whether I'm going to release it. And yet when you do release it, everyone's like, oh my God, this resonates so hard. This is amazing.
Yes. I mean, almost every time. Right? Like, and maybe I'm getting a little better at that, but there's times where it's like when it's something controversial or it's something that pushes the envelope or I'm insecure about because I don't want to focus on that, like chaotic energy, messy energy. You know how I am about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like people would actually be very surprised to hear that, but then some might not be. So yeah, I'm actually extremely hard on myself when it comes to my YouTube videos.
She really is. I can vouch for it because I hear it all. She's really, really hard on herself. And I believe
just to fight in my corner for a second, guys, okay? I feel like the reason that this is, does it come from a space of me not feeling maybe good enough sometimes? Absolutely. But there's also something where I hold such a high regard for the gifts that I've been given from spirit. I don't look at my readings as like, just like, oh, let's talk about if your ex is coming back. Like, I look at this as real spiritual healing. Yeah. Real messages that are coming down from the divine. So if it feels like it's messy, I'm just like, this is not up to my standard of what the divine would want to bring through. But then again, who am I to question what the divine would want to bring through?
Exactly. So, sometimes we have to get out of our own way, which, it really, that's what this type comes down to, is get out of your own way. Because it's self-sabotage to a standard that, like I say, is deliberately set too high. So sometimes you just gotta let go. It's easier said than done. I know. Okay, so number 2 is the superhuman, right? Typically known as the superwoman, not discounting guys, but women, we know, right? It's excessively hard. We push and push and push and push much harder than we need to, much harder than anybody else would. It's like you'd like determined to get behind like some kind of 170-foot truck and you're going to push the goddamn thing down the road by yourself, right? It is compensating for feelings of inadequacy. and you strive to be everything for everyone, but it leads to burnout and exhaustion. Put your hands up if you resonate with that.
I feel like this is going to be titled, Let's Just Call Us Out. Like, what the hell even is this? You know? Like, who approved this? You know?
This is, let's just pickle Jess for an hour, right?
I'm just like, I have a feeling I'm going to resonate with every single one of these. Jeez Louise. But yes, superhuman. I have to do it all. And again, fighting in my corner. Have I had a lot of help? So when I feel like I have to do it all, you know?
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, Jess and I, for those who don't know, are both single moms. And we're both single. So literally, the definition of single mom. And so when you're, I saw a TikTok this morning, funnily enough, that said they want to change the name of single parent to double parent.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So when you're in this position that we find ourselves in, you kind of find that you are a bit of a superhuman because you do have to kind of do everything yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you say, it's hard then because it's like excessively independent.
Everything has a limit. Everything you should be balanced.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you find, I mean, for me, I know that one of the things, and Jess will tell you, that I struggle to ask for help.
Yeah.
I can help other people all day, and I do through my business. I'm coaching, women, and I'm coaching people how to write books, and I'm also somebody who, as a friend, people come to me all the time and tell me about stuff that's going on. I am that person that will help if I can. But if I want help, I see it as, even now, and I'm aware it's my stuff, I see it as like, I don't like asking for help. It makes me feel icky.
Well, it's the hyper independence.
Yeah.
Which it's a trauma response, first of all. And it comes from the state of feeling of uncertainty or even being scared of putting your reliance on others because you've been taught that they will let you down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sometimes going above and beyond, to do the most for yourself, even though you'll have people in hindsight be like, well, why didn't you just reach out? I would have helped you. By the way, her hands are black because she dyed her daughter's hair, not because she is a coal miner.
I've literally just dyed my daughter's hair, a kind of a dark blue, black color, and I wore gloves that literally went all over my hand. So I'm not weird.
Coal miner, she's digging for coal on the part-time. Very lucrative business. Anyways, no, but yeah, that's that energy though, is like, I have been taught that I can't rely on people at some point in my life. So now I am hyper independent because I'm the only one that I can depend on, even though that might not necessarily be true.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I will say to people, not myself, what I say to people is that feeling where you can help someone and it makes you feel really good. There's no such thing really as a selfless good deed. So anything where you are helping someone else and it does give you that really nice, warm, glowy kind of feeling. I always go, if you're struggling to ask for help, think of it this way: you are robbing somebody else of that nice feeling. How dare you? It's so selfish.
That's true. That's actually a really good way to look at it, to actually baby foot people into asking for help. Like, think about how good it feels when you get to help other people, So I like that.
Yeah, that's one step at a time. Maybe we'll get there towards the end. Number 3, the natural genius. You base your competence on how easily and quickly you learn. You expect to master skills effortlessly and feel ashamed if you struggle or ask for help.
I feel like this is like 50-50.
Yeah. It depends what it is, right?
Yeah, because I don't naturally think that I'm actually the opposite. I don't naturally think that I'm great at everything. So I kind of underestimate myself sometimes.
Yeah. And it comes from a lot of again, we'll get there, but a lot of it is like the pressure to be a high achiever, the pressure to kind of, the kind of straight A student kind of feeling where your parents will be like, if you get a B, it's like, why have you got a B? And so it's when you've been kind of brought up in the space like that, it can lead you then to see yourself, define yourself as you need to be the expert.
Yeah, because I can see in ways where that does happen in my life, like in certain things. Like where there's situations where it's like you really can't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
but you expect yourself to know, you should know. It's like really putting too much pressure on yourself. So I feel like I'm 50-50 with that one, but I actually feel like that's something that a lot of people actually might struggle with because they feel like they're expected to know things.
Yeah.
Like, I should be better at this. I should know better. I should do better. And it's like, you're really just experiencing this. Like, we wouldn't, and this is something that I've talked about in my readings too. Like, we wouldn't yell at a baby for not knowing how to walk.
Or
Right?
you would yell at a fish for not knowing how to climb a goddamn tree, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I feel like a fish was never going to climb a tree. A baby will eventually learn how to walk. It just needs to learn. You know, yelling at it for not knowing how to walk, yelling at it for not knowing how to eat solid foods straight out the womb is as ridiculous as you yelling at yourself for not knowing something before you've tried or given yourself time.
Yep. There are 4 stages of learning, right? There is, I'm going to get these right now. There is unconscious incompetence. So you don't know what you don't know, right? Like we said, you don't know that you don't know how to do something. Then as you get older, you realize that actually there is that thing that I can't do. So that's conscious incompetence. You know that you can't do something. Then if you choose, you start to learn. Excuse me. So the classic example is learning how to drive, which I know your daughter has just passed her test, which is amazing. So we move into conscious competence. You can do it, but it's not natural. You have to think about the steps and you have to keep going over them in your brain. And it's very kind of mechanical almost. And then when you've been driving for years, then it becomes that you are unconsciously competent. That you just do it on autopilot. You don't have to think about it anymore. Right? So if you are like a beginner, you're not going to be unconsciously competent. How could you be? But we kind of, and you know, I say like should is could be shame. So it's like, whose shame are you carrying? Who says that you have to be good at it? Because I guarantee it's not really coming from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's, you know, if you ask any therapist, it's probably coming from your parents.
Yeah, I know, which is a whole thing. But anyway, moving on. Number 4, we have the soloist. They must achieve everything on their own and avoid asking for help. It is a weakness. Success is only meaningful if it's achieved individually.
Okay. I'm like, the first half I was on board with, the second half I'm like, eh.
So like if you know if you've had a team or you've collaborated with somebody and it's successful, you won't feel as proud as if it was just you.
Yeah, no, that's not me.
No.
For once. Yay, we found one, guys.
We're not calling out completely, right?
We found one. Like, I don't mind sharing the spotlight. I like to see people get ahead. Katie knows that about me. I like to see people do well.
Yeah, me too.
People that's like,
okay. Exactly. I am that thing of like, I want everyone to win. And if you're winning, I'm cheering you on. So yeah, I know, absolutely. And then the last one is the expert. You're constantly seeking more knowledge and more skills. You worry you'll be exposed to fraud if you don't know everything. You doubt your expertise and you downplay your accomplishments. And I've had so many people like that. I can't answer God, it's insane. The amount of people that like, I'll just do one more course. I'll just do one more workshop. I'll just read one more book. And I'm like, why? Why? Because you are holding yourself back. You don't need to. You know everything you need to know to move forward. But it's fear that you're like, oh, but I'm not good enough.
Yeah. My silence is telling everybody that I 100% resonate with that. Absolutely. I never feel like I know enough. I've learned enough. I'm qualified enough. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know? Which I get completely. I mean, I used to be like that. I'm trying to be kind to myself as I get older. Yeah. It flares from time to time. And that's the thing. I think if you have dealt with imposter syndrome at some point, it's always kind of lurking in the background and things will trigger it. So even if you think you've got a handle on it and you've dealt with it and you've healed it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's the thing. Well, we've talked about this before, you know, lessons come around in cycles. You know, we're always relearning the same lessons, just maybe in different ways or different contexts, but we're still always learning the same thing.
Absolutely. 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 So, characteristics of imposter syndrome. So if you resonate with anything that I've just said, there's 5 types. You're probably going to resonate with some of these, right? And if you don't resonate with all of them, it's fine. You don't have to tick every box. Inability to realistically assess your competence and skills. So you cannot see yourself clearly. right? You cannot see yourself in a way that other people see you. To the point that if somebody offers you a compliment and goes, "Oh my God, you're amazing at that," you're like going, "Me? Not me," right? Jess is saying nothing. You attribute your successful external factors. So you're only Mercury. You're only successful because of outside things not in your control. So other people or opportunities. It's nothing you've done. It's like you were given the chance kind of feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You battle your own performance constantly and belittle it and put it down. You fear you won't live up to expectations. And you are overachieving, sabotage your own success, doubt yourself, and set challenges and goals that are too high and then feel disappointed when you can't reach them.
I don't really like this podcast. I feel like I'm literally in front of my therapist right now, and I'm like, exactly.
I know. Look, okay, to be completely transparent and vulnerable, which you know I'm all about. The reason I chose this is actually I am totally calling myself out. I don't get anyone else to call me out. I will call myself out. I really believed I had a handle on this. Duh. I did. I thought I was like, Katie, I spent like 36 years not liking the person I was, terrible self-worth, terrible self-esteem. Jess will tell you. She met me. She met me towards the end of that time. And yeah, I was just, I wasn't great. I've done a lot of work. I've had therapy. I've like done healing. I've through coaching other people. I've coached myself. Like I've done a lot of work on this. I thought I had a handle on it, and then the last 3 months have plunged me headfirst back into the pit. Like between perimenopause, which is a whole crap show, the whole thing with moving house, my business going slightly quieter. These things have really triggered me. And I have gone like right back into this space of like doubting myself and questioning myself. So I was like, I want to talk about it because I can't be the only one.
No, you're definitely not the only one. Oh my gosh. So many people do not see how awesome that they actually are. Mm-hmm. And I know that this is something that with me and Katie, we probably have this feeling towards each other on the daily basis when we say something and we think to ourselves, what are you talking about? Like, you're so great. You're so amazing at what you do. Like, and that's why we were just talking about this. I went through my Indeed resume the other day and I completely updated it because it hadn't been updated in a very long time. So I updated it and excuse me, I put everything on there, even down to the fact that I'm a published author, right? And it's like, when I audited myself, I was shocked. I was like, wow, for like a high school dropout, you have accomplished more than some people have that have degrees under their belt. Like, absolutely. I was very shocked at how many skills, how much experience, how many things I've actually done. So do that self-audit, guys. It's actually really helpful,
I totally agree. And that's obviously any qualifications. Yes, of course, that's kind of the obvious, but also any kind of jobs you've had, any roles you've had, what accomplishments, achievements you've had. It doesn't have to be like the shiny certificate, right? It can be like I led a team, or I got a new contract, or I was nominated for an award, or I got a pay rise, or anything where you kind of go, well, that's not really a big thing. They all add up and they all really mean something.
Well, and a degree is a degree all day long. And I put my hats off to people who take the time to go through school and formally learn these things, because as somebody who does not like school, that sounds mind-boggling torturous to me. Like, to go to school and to sit here and be studied and like be tested on things, like that's just it's like torture. So I really respect people that can do that. But there's also something to be said for the experience.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been thrown into a lot in my life, is let's just wing it. And I actually do very well. And I feel like that should count too, which is why I have a very powerful resume without actually having a very powerful educational background.
Absolutely, because also education is not for everybody.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't for me.
We've been made to feel like if you don't choose the academic path, that somehow you're lesser, somehow you're not as clever or you're not as high achieving, which I think is really unfair. And you have had so much experience and so many skills that we've seen. And rather than focusing on what you lack or where you feel like you're not good enough, to actually stop and go, do you know what? I'm bloody awesome. I think it's a really important thing to do.
Yeah, and like when you go on Indeed and stuff, they'll it's very automated, and I know it's like AI, excuse me, generated and stuff, but it'll say, you know, this position requires a bachelor's and you don't have that. But it's like, but if the human was looking at my resume, they'd be like, okay, she doesn't have a bachelor's, but Jesus, look at all this. You
Do you
know?
know, there was a statistic that said women will feel like they have to be 110% qualified for a job before they'll apply for it. Men, I mean, I'm not generalizing, but this was the statistic. Men will feel they have to be 70% qualified for a job and they'll apply for it because they understand learning on the job is part of the job. Whereas women feel like they, you know, unless they ticked every single box and even the secret quiet boxes that they're not even on the bloody job thing, they still won't apply for it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, and I would argue, I'm not saying again that men, I don't want to turn this into a men baiting podcast because you know that I could go down that route with a feminist if I wanted to. But I would argue that I think imposter syndrome is more prevalent with women than men. And I'm sure there are people in the comments that would disagree with me. That is my experience through the work that I do. You'd be amazed how many women just don't believe in themselves at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's all generalized too. So if you are a man watching this and you're like, no, I have imposter syndrome, well, we're not talking about the individual. We're talking about statistically, collectively as a whole.
Yes.
You know, I feel like men and women both have different pressures, different expectations, different things going on here. And, you know, I don't know what it feels like to be a man in this world. I'm not a man.
No, definitely not. We're not. That's how we chat. We're definitely not men. Although I did have, just as a side, just to make you laugh, I was in a dating app about 6 months ago, maybe, and this guy matched with me to tell me that I must be a man and I'm fooling nobody, and then he blocked me.
And if that isn't a horror story enough to stay off of dating apps, y'all, I don't know what the hell is. Because when I heard that, I was like, that's freaking rude, bro. Like, even if this person is like a man and not a biological woman, why do you care? If you don't plan on sticking any part of your body part in him, then why would you even say that? Like, that literally pisses me off so bad. People are so just rude and mean unnecessarily.
I know. I promise you, not that it matters. I'm a complete ally of the LGBTQ community, but I am a woman. I was born a girl. I got the whole kink caboodle. So yeah, it's the whole thing, right?
And it's like, and Katie's so much nicer than me, y'all. I don't even know. Because she just blocked him and moved on with her life. I would have like literally looked up the definition of androgynous. Okay. And then give him some examples like, I don't know, Prince, David Bowie. Those are just two off of my top of my head.
Jess literally has claws. Honest to God, if you want Jess in your corner fighting for you, you don't want Jess fighting at you.
I just don't like people who are unnecessarily mean to other people. I can't stand that.
Absolutely.
Like, it's rude.
Rude, absolutely. But yeah, it upset me at the time. Now I can just laugh about it because we're dicks.
Literally, anyway. Y'all, if Katie would have told me, because she told me about this like months after it happened, if she would have told me, I would have purposely gotten on that dating site. Okay? Made sure I would have found that person and been like, listen, fucktard. Okay? I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you have no room talking. I would have went in on that person.
Why is this fucktard sound like a new brand of Pop-Tarts? Is that just me?
I'd buy it.
Fucktard Pop-Tart.
I just go really hard for mine, as y'all know. And
I know.
Like, you can treat other people in the world how you want to. Go treat your mother like that. But don't treat somebody that I care about in a bad way.
No, she will come for you to just, heads up people. But anyway, moving on. So, okay, we've established that if you're watching this and, again, you either have imposter syndrome or someone close to you does. Okay. We've established that. We're all feeling really great about ourselves right now. I know. So we're going to look about why. Now, obviously, there are many, many reasons why you may have imposter syndrome, and it's not a black and white issue. It's layered, it's complex. However, research has shown four kind of key things can kind of trigger you off as to why you have imposter syndrome. And people are like going to take notes going, right, I can blame somebody else. Great. Go for it, Katie. So the first one, Jess is absolutely right. Family. Right? Yeah, you can lay your blame at your parents' door. We'll let you. It's absolutely true. So, two things. If you have, actually, three. If you have a controlling upbringing, if you have an overprotective upbringing, because those two things are actually slightly different. And the third one is high levels of conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's it's the cycle in families that I see a lot in my work that repeat themselves. You know, how your parents were parented will speak volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, comes down to, especially with the first two, is that the love you receive does not always feel unconditional.
Yeah. And I think that also there's a lot of with parents, and I know this because of me being a parent. I look at my kids and I go, I really don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. I know more about life than you do. Please just listen to me. But then the kid feels like they're not being given their expressive freedom. You're expecting them to fail. You're not believing in them. It's a really slippery slope.
It is. It is. And again, like Jess says, both of us obviously are children and parents, which is almost a weird place to be. So you can see how your upbringing has affected you as your parents' child, but you could then try and not give it to your own children. But I honestly think that you can be the best parent in the world, whatever that means. You're still going to have an impact on your kids.
Oh yeah.
You can't stop it. It's literally because you're all different people.
Yeah. And it's just, dealing with rebellious teenagers. That's a pivotal turning point when your children start to become their own person with their own personality, own thoughts, own convictions, own dreams. Yeah, and I think that parents sometimes put pressure on their children too to live the lives that they feel like they should have lived.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard, really, to not live vicariously through your children.
No, it's really hard, and it's not a good thing.
No, it's not, because actually it leads to a lot of resentment and eventually pushback. Because if you haven't achieved your dreams and your goals, that's on you. It's not for you to put them on your kids. Because like for example, I had dance lessons for like 18 years of my life. I love to dance. Dancing is like, I can't listen to music and not shake my ass. It's just who I am. And I could have chosen the path of going professional if I wanted to. An opportunity came to me when I was 18. But because, again, as we established, I had low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I was like, no, I didn't want to leave home. I was real, So I could push that on my kids and kind of be like, dance moms, with Jojo Siwa's mom and all of that. I'm sure everyone's at least seen clips. I could have been one of those moms. But I don't want to, because I can realize how unbelievably toxic that can become.
Oh God, yeah. That can be so toxic. And that it reminds me like there was this, I don't know what argument, I was having with my daughter or something, but I had said to her, I just don't want you to make the same mistakes I'm going to make. And she's like, well, how do you know I'm going to? And I was like, fair enough, because I don't actually know that. I'm just afraid you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Fear has a lot to answer for. It really does. Fear will lead you to make choices and decisions that are not always great. Let's be real. So that's number one. Number two is any kind of new. So new workplace, new school placement. You feel like you don't belong, and the pressure to achieve and the lack of experience can lead you to really in the place of imposter syndrome.
You know what's funny is like I feel like I've experienced this in workplaces. Like I'll go in and I'll be the new person and I'll be like, I don't feel like I fit in, I don't feel like I belong. And people will be very encouraging and like help you. But then when you start to excel and do better, suddenly they turn on you. I've experienced that a lot. So I don't know if that goes hand in hand with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it completely. And I have as well. I just know that, there is that thing of when you go into a new position of wanting to, I think it's kind of like affirming why they chose you. You're almost kind of going, you made the right decision by me being excellent. Like if I'm anything less than excellent, you could think that you've made the wrong decision.
Yeah, for sure. I remember my last boss, she told me that she personally loves hiring overachievers and perfectionists because they are never going to feel like they're doing a good enough job and therefore they are going to do amazing, which is toxic as fuck. I'm not going to lie. I like
Yeah.
her as a person, but very toxic mindset with work.
Yeah, because again, that will lead to exhaustion and burnout, as we know.
Yeah. And then also when you, as an overachiever and perfectionist, the moment that we decide, okay, well, I'm going to tone it down actually and not try as hard and give what everybody else gives, mind you, suddenly it's like you're not treated the same or you're not doing enough, even though you were giving 110%, everybody else was giving 90. You've toned it down to 90.
And now you're the problem.
Now you're the problem. And that's something that I just can't stand. But it's like also we create this own monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you fed the monster for ages, and then you get surprised when the monster turns around and bites you in the ass. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, because they've seen your full potential. So they actively know you're doing less. It's like,
yes. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It can get you into a real catch-22 thing. And again, it comes back to that your best is good enough.
Yeah, but when your best is, see, that's a slippery slope too. Because
but it's what your best is. And I say this to my children all the time because, that I've got 2 neurodivergent children. And so that's led to challenges, and as you know. And I say, look, some days your best will be 80%. Some days your best will be 10% because you're a human being. If you're still showing up and doing what you can to the best of your ability on that day, then that is your best. It's not about being 100% every day, because nobody, it doesn't matter how talented you are, how many qualifications you have, what money you earn, what kind of house you live in, nobody can give 100% every day.
Yeah, and see, that actually makes me be on board with that statement, because I was instantly, when you said that, I was like, okay, well, my best is 110% every single time. But that's not always actually the best. You're right.
No. It's what your best looks like for you in that moment, because also it's not even a daily thing. Sometimes it's an hourly thing, right? It's been proven that actually, and that's where the whole 9 to 5 workplace thing doesn't work for us, because studies have shown that actually we can only do 2 to 3 hours of focused work before we start to kind of drift off, and the rest of it is just filler.
Yeah. And I think that, going with the ebb and flow of life is really good. I've personally recently started allowing myself to take some time sometimes to not feel like I have to be productive or doing something.
Yeah. Without the guilt, right?
Yeah. Which is, and yeah, I could be doing more. I should be doing more. There's a guilt with being able to kind of have an easier life now, especially just, I don't know, not pushing towards having to produce something constantly or achieve something constantly.
Well, that was the thing, is that you come from a job where you were required to, because also, I've been with you through that whole thing. You were required to give 100% every single moment of every single day. You had targets to meet, you had meetings. It was a lot of pressure. And to step away from that and to move into a slower pace, still productive, but just slower and less demanding, there is the guilt of am I now not doing enough?
Yeah, because in a way, that job really fed that energy of needing to be fast paced and on the go and moving and shaking and doing this and doing that. But then it's like sometimes spirit will give you what you want so you can see that you really don't want that. Because I do not want that. I don't want to be a girl boss. I don't want to climb ladders. I don't want to be empire of the world. Some people do. I know that you have a lot more ambitions for where you want to be in your life than I have. I'm okay with just the day by day being smooth and steady, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, again, we have differing, what is it? Things that we want. Let's just say that as we grow, things
Yeah.
change, our priorities change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the third thing that can kind of lead you into imposter syndrome is your personality. So I know everyone's like, oh, great. So if you have, again, low self-belief, any kind of perfectionism, high anxiety or insecurity, you are more likely to fall into imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Well, I have an anxiety personality that's been diagnosed. So so we already know, guys. I'm very open about that, like about being anxious, because I feel like it's something that we shouldn't be ashamed of. A lot
No,
of people have anxiety. You
absolutely.
know?
Removing the stigma and putting our hands up. You and I know that I'm going through trying to get help for my own mental health right now. So
Yeah.
there's no stigma here. It's like people, I would argue that most of us are kind of fucked up in the head anyway. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people who think that they have it all together, um, I mean, I'm not here to argue with anybody about that, but I feel like that is a false sense of control, which is something
Yeah.
that me and you have been talking about a lot recently in our own personal conversations. How in control are we of really anything?
Yeah. Because I believe that, it's an illusion of control.
Yeah.
And you know that, and we hold on to it because it makes us feel better. It makes us feel like we got our shit together. When in reality, it doesn't take a lot really to knock you off your I have everything in control kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, well, some people thrive in chaos and they thrive in, you know, disaster and stuff. And that's when it's like we separate the boys from the men, as they say. But I do feel like there a lot of us walk around with this false sense of like we are in control of everything. I mean, not to put any bad juju on anybody, but you could literally get in your car, go down the road, and your tire could fly off.
Yeah.
It's like we are operating under the false sense of that we know everything is in its place and everything is controlled and we know what to expect the next second. So when something comes in and throws a monkey wrench into the plans and we don't actually feel in control, that's when we're going to actually see
Yeah.
the truth about ourselves, really.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Totally agree. The fourth one is kind of a byproduct of the third one because it's social anxiety. So it's not just generalized anxiety, it's social anxiety. So if you find yourself in any kind of company or any kind of, social interaction and it leads you to be very self-aware, very self-conscious, feeling very awkward about yourself, again, imposter syndrome was not too far behind.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, I have massive social anxiety. And I think that this is something that possibly surprises people because of what I do.
Yes.
But people have to understand, I am talking technically to my window. I'm looking out my window, watching the birdies fly by, and I'm not talking to the 28,000 people that are subscribed to me. If they were here in front of me, it'd be different. I would like to say,
if you had 28,000 people in your yard out the window, you would go to bed.
I would be like, well, it's freaking party time. I don't know if I got enough drinks and food for everybody, but shit, you know? I feel perfect example of this, my last job, I used to have to do orientations. So
Yes.
I would literally train and give orientations to the new substitute teachers that were coming into the school district. I hated that.
She
And
did.
especially like being an empath because I could feel everybody's emotions. And as you said, I was so hypersensitive and aware of how I would speak and if I would stutter and if, you know, what were they thinking? And if I had to go draw something on the board, were they looking at my butt? Like it was just like everything at once would be going through my mind while I was also giving the lesson and the lecture. I'd like to say it's gotten a little bit better, but I don't know.
The thing is that in the last kind of what 6 months that you haven't massively been in big social situations anyway.
I literally went back into my hermit mode flying.
Yeah.
Like just cannonballed right so happily too. Right back into not talking to people, not dealing with people. Because it was a lot. Everybody's saying like, hey, how you doing, Jessica? And knowing you and like where I live in this town, I don't know anybody, and I love that. I love that at any given moment, I'm a stranger. I mean, of course, at the grocery store, they're starting to recognize me, but you know, that's natural. But as far as like people knowing me, knowing my life, knowing what I do for a living, oh my God, I love the bliss of being invisible.
Absolutely. You know, it's really funny. I always think, because you know it, and I know every year for the last 6 years, I do a big women's empowerment event in like October time where I have women coming and we stand up and speak to an audience. And I think it would be great if Jess could come. And I think, God, she'd fucking hate it.
I would just, it's like people would see like a different side, I feel like, because I have this very, like, for instance, with these podcasts, if you go back to the first podcast versus how comfortable I feel now, you can see the difference.
Yes.
I'm much more comfortable on camera now. Like I don't really think about, oh my God, how am I looking? How am I people, what are people thinking about me? It's just, I don't know. That's why I say I don't know if I've actually done better or if I've just been in an avoidant energy of people.
And we won't know until you're in that situation and we'll see how you cope. Because that's the thing. The thing with imposter syndrome is that unless you're putting yourself in a situation where it's being triggered, you don't know where you're at with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, time will tell. But I definitely see that your confidence has grown on camera, which is a massive achievement as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And I think that it's everything happens for a reason. So maybe being more comfortable on camera is setting me up for other things that I'm not aware of yet, which I'm fully open to. But it's like the one-on-one, I don't know, you know? And especially when it comes to like social situations like friends, dating, I'm just like such a wallflower, like in the corner, like people wouldn't expect that unless I instantly click with you. Like if we instantly click, you're gonna see the goofy Jessica right off the bat, you know? But
As
that's
I
rare.
did.
That's really rare.
As I did, like we clicked really quickly, and so I've seen every single size that Jess has. She's like a blue disco ball or a Rubik's cube. This girl's got more size than I don't know. I can't even think of an analogy.
And you know, and the thing is that is for me the hallmark of a true friendship or a true connection is somebody that can see all sides of you and accept it, not
Yeah,
expect you to be something else, get upset with you when you don't live up to whatever
yeah,
preconceived expectations, which I find a lot of the people that I meet in the social sphere, if I meet them off of the Moody Tarot, they already have a preconceived notion of me.
absolutely. Yeah.
So then when they meet Jessica and they're like, okay, well, you're a little different. Not like fully, but a little different.
Well, yeah, because you're not performative, right?
Yeah.
Whereas on Moose Arrow,
Like,
you're performing.
like when I talk, I don't say from a distance. I don't talk like that, guys. I'm not in my everyday conversations
She's
going,
not going.
like,
I love that we both went to sail away, but yeah, she doesn't do that on the daily.
do you ever hear me say that? No. In conversation? Like, no, that's not how I talk. That is a performative aspect of myself. It's something that I know the people want to hear. They want to hear that, and I love giving that to them. But just recognize that when you're talking to me, you're talking to Jessica, and Jessica is a human. She's not the Moody Tarot all the time.
I just love that we both went to the same thing at the same time. That's so, I know, breathe.
Well, yeah, and it's because that is a big trademark thing. Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people, if you heard another tarot reader go, sail away, y'all be like, we know where you got that from because there's only one person.
There's only one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bless you. So, back to, stuff. I know, I've massively, she's got a massive time. After this episode, after we finish recording, I am going to get an absolute bollocking for this episode. She's going to be like, Katie, I am so
No, I'm fine.
So anyway, back to on task. So if all of this stuff is resonating, which clearly it could be, we're going to start by asking yourself 4 questions. Okay, so these are like journal prompts or like just things to sit with. Number 1, what core beliefs do I hold about myself? How do you see yourself? You know, what do you believe to be true in life? A lot of our core beliefs are formed by the age of about 6, 7, because before that we're kind of like emotional, mental sponges to the world. So, and then unless they're questioned, unless they're kind of analyzed and reframed, they can come with you into adult life, even if they're not necessarily true. So how do you see yourself and what do you believe about your place in the world? Okay. Number two, do I believe that I am enough as I am?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's my belief that we are always enough and we are never too much. But I know that that's a rare thought. To me, it's kind of like, well, duh, because it's true. But I know to a lot of people don't see themselves like that. So it's a question. And number three, do I have to be perfect for others to approve of me?
Mm.
Can
Yeah.
I be messy and chaotic and make mistakes and fail and people will still like me?
Yeah. I think these are really good prompts. I actually really like the first one too, in distinguishing the difference between am I enough and what is my place in the world?
Mm,
Because, or not am I enough, but how do I see myself? And then what do I see about my place in the world? Because actually, you can see yourself as a great person, but then when you put it on in the context of, okay, but what about your place in the world? That can dramatically shift how you see yourself.
definitely, definitely. So yeah, really, again, if this is resonating with you, sit with them, write about them, see what comes up. And then to kind of shift imposter syndrome, you're looking at key things. So you're sharing your feelings with other people. Vulnerability, I know, scary, I know, but vulnerability is one of the cornerstones of good relationships. So we have to let ourselves be a little bit vulnerable and put ourselves out there with the right people. Focus on other people and stop focusing on yourself,
Right.
right? Because imposter syndrome is like the mirror is completely turned to look at you.
Right.
And if that study is correct, and 70% of people in the world have this at some point, then we're all just got self-facing mirrors, and actually we're all dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. And I would say for people who really quickly, for people who have put themselves out there in social situations and they feel like they get rejected for being their authentic self, know that this is a part of conditioning. You have to believe in yourself even when people don't.
Yes,
So don't get discouraged or crushed if somebody doesn't believe in you. Look at that as like the test of, okay, well, this just means I need to believe in myself more.
yes,
And it's
definitely.
not necessarily a you problem, it's a them problem if they can't see a good thing when it's in front of them. I feel bad for people like that.
Amen to that, sister. Completely agree. I like that. I like that. Assess your ability. So, as Jess says with her resume on Indeed, it's a really good task to do. Sit down. You don't have to write a list if you don't want to, although I'm very old school, as you know. I write everything out, as you can see. Like, it's just my thing. But I at least sit and think about it, talk to other people about it, people you trust, and go, like, how do you see me? What are my attributes? I know it feels kind of weird and a bit awkward, but you don't ask a question, you can't get the answer, right? Take baby steps. So for example, when you start that new position or you start that new project or you start that new whatever it is, don't look at the whole picture because it's really overwhelming and you're not going to feel good enough. Break it down into bite-sized chunks because
Right.
bite-sized pieces are always more manageable. If you're sitting there with a family-sized apple pie, if you look at the whole pie, you're going like, God damn, I'm going to be in pain. I don't even know if I can do that. But if you take a little bite, it's nice, right? It's enjoyable. You might have another bite. Or maybe that one bite was enough. We don't know. Break it down,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Question your own thoughts. Just because you believe something does not mean it's true. You are not your thoughts. You are the watcher of your thoughts.
Yep. Yep. A
Yeah,
huge advocate for that. Listen, guys, 90% of your thoughts are just garbage, just things that are on recycle. Doesn't even matter. You
yeah,
shouldn't even give it any kind of mind or pay attention to it at all. I'm a big advocate for not even really taking your thoughts seriously sometimes.
absolutely. Because we know like you can be the biggest bully towards yourself. You can say things to yourself that you never say to anybody else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm so nasty at times. And now I call my I call my inner critic the name of the girl that bullied me at school. Because I didn't stand up for myself when I was being bullied at school at all. I didn't like I was real, like just like the
Mm,
little timid mouse in the corner that let it happen, if I'm being honest. And so now I'm kind of dealing with my own thoughts, but I'm also healing that inner child by saying what I wish I'd said to her at the time.
yeah.
It
See,
helps.
and that's growth. That's progress. For me,
Absolutely.
it's like I hear somebody, if somebody says something to me, I'm like, lightweight. You don't even know how much damage I've done to myself with how I've talked to myself. And you think that you calling me this is like, let me give you some tips on how to disrespect me. Okay, because I know I'm a pro at it. Okay, but I've gotten to the point now where I actually do stand in my corner and I stand up for myself, and so I'm like, no, people don't get the right to just come in here and say whatever they want anymore, because I don't even do that. I try not to do that to myself, like, you know.
Absolutely. Few more. One, stop comparing yourself to other people. I know these things are not easy, by the way. I know people are going to go, oh, it's easier said than done. I know. I'm well aware. Trust me. I'm just saying these are the tips, right? Social media, use it moderately. Now, again, easier said than done, right? Who's addicted to their phone? Who watches TikTok a lot? Yeah, I know. Me too.
Yeah, it's not me.
Not you. I know. I love me a TikTok.
I don't.
But, you know, regardless of what app or what you're doing on your phone, if you are dealing and you recognize you're dealing with imposter syndrome, I'm not saying come off it. I'm not saying doing a detox because we live in the real world. I am saying just be mindful of your usage.
Yeah. Oh, for
That's all.
sure. Take some time where you're not, you know, looking at your screen, especially if you work on social media, because sometimes it can feel like we're always on there.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly, the comparison to other people did not get enough time. That is a huge problem with people. Comparing their growth to other people, comparing their chapter to another person's story. Comparison is the seduction of the devil,
It
right?
really
It's
is.
my favorite dance,
Yeah.
because we look at other people and we see what they have accomplished and we instantly feel bad about ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. And it's like, if I look at like somebody who's perhaps, let's kind of pick someone that everyone knows. Let's say I look at Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown. She's awesome. And if I look at her career and I can go, "Oh, I'm not where she is. Oh, I'm so crap." Like, oh, what's point? I like, but Katie, she's on chapter 39 of her book. You're on chapter 4 of your book. You're not comparing yourself to her because you're not on the same goddamn chapter, you silly woman.
Yeah. I love how you said somebody that everybody knows. And I'm like, who the hell is Renee Brown? I have no idea.
You know who Brene Brown is?
No.
Girl. She wrote, well, she did the Netflix show, which I recommend to everybody, which is, oh, I forgot it now. Anyway, go on
Well,
Netflix.
that makes a lot of sense. I don't watch TV.
She's also written books as well, called Daring Greatly, which is based on the Teddy Roosevelt quote about the man in the arena. And it's about the power of vulnerability. So check her out. She's awesome. But yes, sorry.
No, that makes sense though, you know, like comparing yourself to your idols. But I'm a firm believer in that if you see something in somebody else and you feel like that's something I want, you have that ability to do that for yourself.
Absolutely. We all can. It's human nature. You know, all of us can go and climb Mount Everest if we want it. We're not going to, but we still have the capability of doing it because somebody else has done it.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd have to train. You'd have to train bloody hard. But again,
I was about to say, because I'd ball out like before we even got to base camp 1, I'd be done.
Yeah, you and me both. I'd be like, should we go get some lunch?
Yeah, that sounds like a much funner thing to do. Like lunch and a coffee. I don't want to go climb a mountain where people are frozen to death on the side of it. What the hell's wrong with you?
Okay, what about a marathon? Again, we could.
I don't want to do that either.
I know, but the point is, we could if we wanted to. We just don't want to.
Yes, that would be more realistic. Yes.
Yes,
I still don't want to, but yes, I could.
Me neither. That couch to like 5K. No, I'm good. I'll stay on my couch. It's fine. Stop fighting your feelings, because whatever you resist persists. So if you keep denying your imposter syndrome, if you keep saying that it's not a big deal, I ignore it, I'll push it down, you're making it the monster under the bed.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You have to turn around and face it and have a chat with it with love. You know, see the healing, see try and make friends with it, and it will lose its power over you.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
You know, and keeping always refuse point blank to let it hold you back. Yeah. Just because you have imposter syndrome does not mean you can't achieve. Doesn't mean you can't do things. That's where turning around and have a conversation with it, making friends with it, because it's going to come with you on the journey.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. You know, do it anyways.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in that and that honestly has what it has been what has brought me some of the success that I've found in my life is being scared, but doing it anyways.
Yeah, 100%. Every single thing I have done in my life, I have been really scared and nervous and doubted myself. Everything I've done.
Yeah.
I might appear confident on the outside, but inside, I am like a wobbly mess of jelly. Like, seriously, I'm just really doubting myself. But I still do it because my passion is greater than my fear.
Yeah. And I want to give a perfect example of imposter syndrome and like how it can kind of seem so outrageous is I am a tarot reader and I've been a tarot reader for a very long time. I have a very successful YouTube channel doing tarot readings. I give personal readings where I get 99% positive feedback. I have one of my clients that asked me, could I teach her the tarot? And my instant thought is, who the hell am I to teach anybody tarot? I'm not qualified. What do I even know about tarot? And then it's like every time we have, which shout out to Dana if you're watching, girl. Every single time we have a lesson, she always tells me, Jessica, God, your knowledge is so vast. Like, how do you even know all this? And it's like, and I'm instantly like, I don't know, girl. There's lots of people that know lots of things, but I'm happy that you're happy, right? Like, So that is just an example of imposter syndrome and how it doesn't make sense, but it hits you.
But you've seen it with me. That time when you said, Katie, I'm really busy. I've got notes to write a book and I've done a little bit, but I haven't got the time to finish it off and publish it. If I pay you, can you do it for me? And I went, me?
Yeah.
No, don't be silly. I can't do that for you. And you're like, girl, how many books have you written? And I was like, yeah, but me.
Y'all, I remember thinking, this girl is literally the most qualified person I know to do this, and she doesn't think that she's qualified. She's written like how many books? Funny. Guys, I hope you guys have gotten something off of this.
Yeah, we're not here to call people out. We're not here to trigger you. And if you are triggered, well, take it as a sign that this is something that needs your attention, needs healing. Again.
Yeah, but this is a safe space too. So even if you do feel triggered, we're not judging you.
As we've established, Jess and I are dealing with this as well. So this is not like we figured it out and you guys are just like, no, we're all in the boat together and we're all messed up in the head together and we're trying to find our way out of the crap.
Yeah. I mean, I give, again, as we've established, we give people way more grace than we give ourselves. So you don't need the fear coming to us, feeling like this. Okay. So Katie, it's my turn to pick what we're going to do next week. And I have thought about this. I don't know how you're going to feel about this. Part of me feels like you'll like it. Part of me feels like you won't.
Oh, God, no, I'm scared. What?
I want us to talk about our favorite books.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I have really been into reading and I've racked some up that I like. But not only our favorite books, I have only written one book and I will feature it, but I would like you to talk about your top maybe 2 favorite books that you've written yourself, but also just books that we're interested in and how it's touched our lives. And if we have the physical copy, if not, if it's something we did an audio book, then we'll just the name and the author. So does that sound
good? Yeah, but my only issue was narrowing it down because I am the biggest bookworm, and so I'm going to have to go and think about it. But yes, I could talk about books all day long. So
I think that we can get quite a few in an hour.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And how we got into reading and why it's so important. Yeah, there's lots there, and hopefully we can also give you some book recommendations. So we'll try and do a varied kind of mix of books, different genres and stuff, so that it's kind of hitting everybody. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. Well, look, guys, thank you as ever for watching this and staying with us. We really appreciate you. We love you all so much. And like I say, if it's hitting home and you recognize yourself, it's okay. As Jess said, this is a safe space and we're here to listen and support you if you want us to.
Yep.
But anyways, look, have a great day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being awesome. And we will, as ever, see you on the next one.